649. Are you still holding a torch for a past love? Do you think very often about being with your ex-partner again, even though you are in another relationship? Well, it is time to move on. Relationship expert Dr. Howard Devore is here for advice for getting on with your life. Easier said than done, isn't it, for some people?
Oh, yeah, very much.
You talk something about torchbearers. What exactly is a torchbearer?
Well, torchbearers are people who are holding on to either a previous love or someone who they fell in love with early in their life who they never really actually got to know, but they hold very tightly to the image of or the wish of that particular relationship.
Is that what it is? It's an affection more for an idea than it is the person itself? And
yes. Oh, yeah. Because even if it was a relationship they actually experienced, they tend to remember the relationship much more fondly than it actually was, and then they idealize it later in life as if it would be better than whoever they can find now.
You also talk of sort of the power of a first love or what seems to be a true love for people.
Yeah, it holds a tremendous amount of symbolic meaning for people. That first love teaches people what it's like to have those kinds of feelings, and it can kind of imprint what the ideas of how that should be, and no real person can ever stand up to the test of that memory.
So why does that person live in that image in a person's mind?
Because it's so powerful. There's a sense that once we've had this experience, which is very deep, you kind of learn these feelings the first time. It's very hard to learn a new way to be involved with somebody who's real when you've got this idealized memory from your past.
How do you start the process of trying to move on, to try and get over this person or this idea?
It often depends on what the form of the relationship actually was. For a lot of people, these are relationships that happened in high school or somewhere around there, maybe the first or second year of college, where they had this first true love experience. And if that relationship didn't work out, or if for whatever reason they separated and moved their own separate ways, people have to be able to make real the previous relationship.
How do you do that?
Well, typically it means going back and visiting with that other person.
Oh, so you get sort of a reality check.
Exactly.
This person is flesh and bones, has mistakes and all the rest?
Yeah. And if that person isn't available, then we need to be able to demystify the image of that. And you can usually do that and work with your partner.
In what ways?
Typically, I want
because you're asking the partner, to help you get over a past love, and that's not an easy task.
Well, but it certainly is worth your while if you want to be successful in the relationship you've currently got going. For people who become addicted to an image, I want their partner to be able to help them out with making sense of what's the difference between this image and the person who they're actually with. So we get to spend time with our partner who's addicted to a previous image or a previous relationship, going through that entire fantasy. The worst thing you can do is to isolate your partner with their previous love or their idealized previous experience, because then it has a tremendous life of its own in their own head.
What's really interesting about what you're saying as well is that a lot of times people are stuck with where they are right now and not able to move on because a lot of times they're, without realizing, and giving power to something bad, an old relationship or getting rejected, something that happened in the past. And you're basically empowering something which may have happened months or years before that affects you to this day.
And, people have some strange beliefs about this. Things like there's only one true love, and if I blew it with that first person, now I have to take second best for the rest of my life. But when you question people about this, they'll often admit that the real love or the previous love couldn't stand up to what's happening in reality now. So people have to get used to what's real and available to them now. And this is easier than people who have an obsession about a star or an image or even these models you're about to show. Sometimes people fall in love with a model or an image, something they saw in a magazine or saw on TV, and then separating out that particular kind of idealized love from a real person who you actually want to be involved with, that can be tough as well.
Okay, thanks for the reality check.
No problem.
And we also don't want to scare all of our models. It is a safe environment. Dr. Devore, by the way, will be back next week with some more relationship advice.